Hey folks, Mike Honan here at Valley Vapors. Welcome to Vaping for Dummies. Okay, so you've been down to the local vape shop, drugstore, Walmart, something. You've heard about vaping. It's Oxford Word of the Year. You've purchased a vape kit. You're gonna quit smoking, or you're curious about it, and you're all excited, and you got the kit, and you get home, and you have no clue, or even worse, you've been to the store, they've explained it all to you, and you get it home and you look at this thing and you go, what is going on? So don't worry, there's a learning curve to this stuff. It is electronic technology and it just takes a little while to get used to, but really once you get over the hump of learning how to use this stuff, I'm constantly looking over there, don't worry, I just think I hear people coming in. Don't ask me why. Anyway, I'm manning the store today, Valley Vapors here in Salem, Oregon. So, that being said, you've been down, they explained everything to you, you still have no clue. Okay, this is going to be perfect. I'm just going to go over this real quick and just go over the basics of the starter kit, what it entails, the Ejuice, how to fill the tank, just real quick. I mean, this is basic overview, 101 stuff. Vaping for Dummies, as I said before. Okay, so you open up the kit, and this is what you see. You've got your vaping battery here, right here. This is your mod or your battery, and it comes with there's different styles. Okay, you're gonna run into all kinds of styles, but this is pretty basic. You're gonna have a battery, okay, of some sort. Now this isn't the little e-cigarette. This is a little bit. This is a much better device. It's a little bit higher end. This is a vape device. This is the mod or the battery. And okay, you see this little button right here? That's your on-off switch, okay? And since the manufacturers in their wisdom realized you're probably sticking these places in your pocket and purse or somewhere where it really shouldn't be, in some cases, shouldn't put this in your pocket because they break. So, but they thought, well, we don't want a button that's going to turn on with one click. We want a button that's going to turn on with, you know, be a little bit trickier. So they've made it a 5-click. So you'll turn this thing on and off with 5 clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That little light will flash. You know this baby's on. Every time you push the button, the light goes on. So you know it's on. It's firing, okay? So then at the bottom, this is a little bit more advanced battery. Some batteries don't have this. But if you do have it, see that little tiny hash mark there? Where is that? There it is right there. That little tiny hash mark. That is a variable voltage adjustment, okay? All that does, it gives you a little bit more power to the coil. The coil is what vaporizes the e-juice. That's what's in the tank. So this is all the way down to 3.3, and all you do is turn it up to 4.8. It goes all the way up to 4.8 volts, okay? It's a voltage regulator. So it regulates the voltage. You'll want to keep this at about halfway in between the two hash marks right there, and then all the way here, you want to keep about halfway at about 3.8 to 4 volts for most coils, most tanks. So you want to keep it at about, excuse me, 3.8. If you don't have one of these settings, don't worry about it. It's got a preset. It's probably preset at 3.8 or 3.9, of course, but right in there, okay? So it's okay if it doesn't have it. If it does, it's not a big deal. You're just going to set this at about 4.0 or 3.8, depending on where you like it. Some people like it less, some people like it more. Okay, this is your battery. We got over, that's your on-off. Always, if your battery doesn't work, always do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 click, or maybe some batteries. Most of the batteries I'm experienced with have 5 clicks. Some have 3, but basically most of them are 5. Okay, there's your battery. That's one part of the mod, okay? Here's another part. This is your tank, okay? That goes on top. This screws onto the battery. And most tanks do this. They all screw onto the battery. And if you look right there, you'll see a contact on this battery, on the top of this battery, on the 510 thread. This is the most common threading, 510 thread. And your tank will screw into either one. Either it'll screw into the top or it'll screw onto the sides of the 510 threading. So you're just going to put it and just get it threaded. And these two contacts are going to contact, and that's what fires. So that's what pushes the power through to the tank, okay? There's a couple more parts to this, and we're going to go over those right now so I don't move ahead too fast. You've got your charger, okay? And you've got your wall plug, okay? Charger wall plug. There's a little USB plug, just like your cell phones. That's going to plug right into there, okay? So it's going to look like this. for most intents and purposes, you don't want to charge these like in your car. You don't want to charge this in your car unless the manufacturer advises it. You're not going to want to charge this anywhere but on the wall. Just plug it into the wall plug. These batteries, there's a 1300 milliamp battery, just charge it on the wall, charge it at night. First time you get it, drain it all the way out, and then give it a full charge, and then after that, just charge it as necessary. Okay, so to charge it, you're going to plug this part in the wall, you're going to screw the top of the plug into the top of the battery, okay? Do not over tighten these things. These are not really, honestly, most of the ones I've come in contact with, they don't like to be over tightened. Don't over tighten, just snug it up gently. There's a little light here, there's a little LED light right there on most of these batteries that shows red when it's not charged, it'll go green when it is charged, okay? So just real basic, just gonna screw it in, don't over tighten, never over tighten this stuff. The tank to the battery into the charger, do not over tighten. Just gently snug it in. That's all you have to do is snug it in, okay? You'll feel it, it's gonna be nice and snug. You'll see it's snug, it's nice and snug. Light's gonna blink, it'll be green when it's charged. It takes about 3 or 4 hours, okay? So we got that, that's real basic. Okay, so here's a cool thing. If you're working with a little local vape shop, if you have any questions, most places are real good about helping you out. They want you to come back, so they'll be happy you came back. But this is not basic. Okay, here's your tank. Okay, like we said, the tank screws on to the battery. Okay, so now your tank's empty. Okay, now this is an Aspire bottom vertical coil tank. All right, we see Aspire right there. See that? It says Aspire. Okay, this is a bottom vertical coil tank. This is a bottom fill tank. Now there are other tanks that fill from the top, but they're all kind of the same. They use a coil, they use some sort of wick system. So you're gonna unscrew this. There's what it looks like when it's unscrewed. You can look right down, and you know what? See that little tube there? I'm gonna look right back at you. See me? I'm looking, I think you can see me. Trying to look out. But anyway, you can look right through that tube. That tube goes into the top of this coil. And the coil's right there in that cylinder, and the top of this screws into that cylinder, and that's the vapor, the Ejuice is drawn into that cylinder over the coil and is vaporized. That goes up into your mouth. So you can see that tube connects and that goes right into your mouth. And the Ejuice is contained in a reservoir around that center tube. So you don't want to get any Ejuice in that tube. It's not a big deal if you do, but try to avoid it if you can. And you'll see, I'll show you in a second how that's done. Okay, so we got that. So there's two parts to this. You can actually even take the top off and clean it, but you never want to do that while there's Ejuice in, at least with these tanks, while there's Ejuice in the reservoir, because it'll just spill all over the place. You've literally just dumped it out on yourself. So you never want to take this apart, the top part, you never want to take that tip off while there's Ejuice in it, but you can take it out to clean it out or do whatever. Okay, this little coil, this is a coil that vaporizes the Ejuice. And in most cases, Kanger have them, Aspire have them. Everybody's got coils that you got to replace every once in a while. There are throwaway tanks. I recommend you don't get those. Get these are better. Either the Kanger dual coils, the Aspire coils are good. I'm sure there's others out there, but for this video, we're just going to do this one. There's your coil, and you can see, I think you can see that little in there, that little cylinder, and then you can see some cotton batting in there and some mesh. That is what holds the Ejuice onto the coil, and that's what vaporizes in there. So that heats up with the contact of the battery. Okay, so now to fill the tank, some of them, I recommend a Pyrex. Get a Pyrex tank, a glass tank. Make sure you get a glass tank. They're just better. They're a few bucks more, but really, if you want this to work and you want to quit smoking, it's better for you. Pyrex tank. Get a glass tank. It won't weird out on you. The juice won't hurt it. Here's your Ejuice. This is a high-quality Valley Vapors Ejuice. We make it here in Salem. This is great stuff. I love the flavors. We got tons of great flavors. But anyway, this is your Ejuice, but it could be anything. Could be 5 Ponds, or I don't know. There's a zillion manufacturers out there. Don't get Chinese juice. By and large, it just doesn't, you don't know what's in it. Get it from somebody that makes it locally, that they can tell you exactly what's in it. They make it stateside. So anyway, So you're gonna take your tank, and just like you're pouring a beer, all right, with these, you're gonna roll it down the side of the tank. And I'm not gonna fill this just because I've done this too many times. Is that a good excuse? That's a rotten excuse. Anyway, sorry about that. So you're just gonna fill it, and you can watch it through this little view window, and you're gonna watch it fill up, and you're gonna stop right before you get to the very top of the tank. You're just gonna stop, and then you're gonna hold on to this, and you're gonna take this the base. You see this part is the base, so you've still got this. This is filled. You're not gonna be. This is the base, and just like priming a carburetor, you're gonna take this, and you're gonna take and drop a couple of drops of Ejuice to prime the coil. That way, you're not trying to pull coil in and burn the coil while there's no. It just heads them off the path, so to speak. You're gonna drop 2 or 3 drops of Ejuice into the coil. Let it sit for maybe a minute, 60 seconds. And then you're gonna take the base, don't flip this over and try to do it this way, because you're gonna dump it all over yourself. Don't do that. Don't dump it all over yourself. Nobody likes that. It creates a mess. You're gonna take this. This is not gonna harm it. If you flip this over, the Ejuice isn't gonna come out of here. It gets soaked into the cotton batting or whatever, the silica batting or whatever it is. And it gets soaked and it's held around the coil. So it's not gonna spill out. So you can just take this and you're gonna just drop this back on. And you are going to screw this on, and you have just successfully filled your tank. You have successfully achieved the level of vapor. Vapor, V-A-P-E-R, not V-A-P-O-R. When you're V-A-P-O-R, you no longer exist. So don't do that yet. Wait a little while to get that point. But you're going to be a V-A-P-E-R, which means you still exist and are able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So you got this baby filled. And then once you get it filled, to fire the coil, you're going to place this in your mouth, and you're going to, here I'll show you one that's filled. I got a filled one. It looks a little different, but the same idea. You're going to place the tip in your mouth, push down the button, and I'm waving at the people walking by. I'm a nice guy. You know, everybody loves a nice guy. Who doesn't love a nice guy? Everybody loves him. So you're vaping. 6 milligrams. I love 6 milligrams. 6 milligrams of nicotine for me is perfect. Other people like 12, 18. And that's the cool thing about vaping. You can actually lower the levels of nicotine. You can control. And if you go to a local guy, they can actually control the level of nicotine they put into it. They're making it themselves, or they bought it from someone who makes it locally, and they can control the level of nicotine. And that's awesome. That's what you want. You want to reduce the level of nicotine. Nicotine isn't what's hurting you necessarily. It's the stuff in the cigarettes that's really killing you. But some people really want to get off the nicotine. That's great. Reduce the level of nicotine over time, and you'll be free. Anyway, that's the basic idea. So it's pretty simple. And thanks so much for watching our videos. We really appreciate all our customers. We had a great Black Friday. A lot of people came down, had a great day. Thanks so much for watching the videos. You guys have a great day. Adios, amigos.